Welcome to Wales, as once again the capital city hosts one of the most unmissable events of the season, the Cardiff Triathlon. With events for elites and enthusiasts on distances from super sprint to Olympic, this race has something for everyone. And it all takes place here on closed roads right in the city centre. For the first time in history, Cardiff hosts a British Triathlon elite race, meaning that many of the best multi-sport athletes in the UK are here to compete. And what an event setting. The finish line and the transition have the iconic Wales Millennium Centre as a backdrop, but there are stunning views throughout, from the swim in the bay to the run along the barrage. Here's your commentator then, Patrick Winterton, with a look at what's to come.
This is the third Cardiff Triathlon, and each year the event gets bigger and bigger. It's easy to understand why. It's the perfect venue. There's a great contemporary centrepiece. The sense of history is fantastic. Loads of spectators and some big names competing. Adam Bowden, he's been busy signing autographs, giving advice, and of course he will race as the favourite. Well, we've got a super sprint, a sprint which is the distance for the elite, and an Olympic race, all of them racing in Cardiff Bay for the swim, and it's excellent conditions. The bike ride, flat roads, closed roads. It's going to be very, very quick indeed, and the elite allowed to draft this year. That's one significant change. When that's finished, they're on to the run. 5 kilometres for the sprint event, along the barrage, water left and right. And then, of course, the finish at the Millennium Centre.
We think this is the best transition area, possibly in the world. You know, it's absolutely amazing, the basin here. You've got this natural amphitheatre, spectators can look down on the race as it happens. This year, for the first time, we're working with our partners at British Triathlon to deliver the elite race. So what we'll see is elite men and elite women racing. It's that draft legal racing. It's the first time that we've seen that here in Cardiff. That's what you'll see here in the Cardiff Triathlon.
And because of that drafting, it's so important to come out of the water with the leaders, or you need to have the cycling abilities of someone like Geraint Thomas. As I said, Adam Bowden's certainly the favourite, and I think Harriet of Wales knows it.
He's full of confidence. You know, it's a home race for him now as well, living so close to Cardiff. So I think he's going to be tough to beat, but you got to try.
So the elite make their way to the start for their sprint event, 750 metres in the water for them. All of them deep in thought at this stage.
I'm still not coming into this race thinking, no, I'm going to stroll it, I'm going to win it easily. I'm preparing the same as I do for every single race, and I'm going to make sure I have that plan that I've always had into every single race, and it'll be the same.
Variety may be the spice of life, but consistency certainly the secret of success in sport. Chris Param is another of the big names here. He's very good in the water.
Got a couple of good fast runners like Adam Bowden, but if I can play to my strengths and put him under pressure on the swim and like through transition and stuff, that's my best shot of doing well overall, so that's what I'm going to play my strengths towards today.
Helen Jenkins on the hooter for the start of the race. She, of course, expecting at the end of July. And she gets the race underway. Now, there are some very, very fast swimmers in this group, and they will want to make a mark. Lots of them specialist swimmers, so they know that they should be up the front. And that looks like James Chandler-Main, who's one of those who's leading the way. Beautiful technique, very smooth in the water, and it is Chandler-Main who's going to be the first out. Good swimming from him. Alistair Rogers right on his heel. 9:35, the unofficial time for the swim for those 750 metres, so the chop slowing them down a little. They usually closer to the 9-minute mark. Into the transition area. It's quite a long run from the pontoon to the transition, and Chandler-Main just taking his time. Chris Param is there, no damage done in the water. Lelio is there, and Adam Bowden only 5 or 6 seconds down on the race leaders out of the water. I think he'll be happy with that. So, who's first out of T1? It's Alistair Rogers who's stolen a march on the rest. Good swimmer, good cyclist. I think his weak link today could well be the run at the end. Not a lot between the leaders, only 13 seconds separating the top 15 out of the water. They break left out of Roldal Place and onto the rows. Alistair Rogers it is who leads at the moment, and all the big names just a matter of seconds behind them. It looks as though we're going to have a big group at some stage on this bike ride. Adam Bowden mounts without incident. He goes past Haynes and now can start chasing down Alistair Rogers, the 21-year-old who leads here in Cardiff.
You've ridden hard at the start. Like, I don't see why you wouldn't want to get away as a group together. Like, it just means it's less people in the running race. We'll see what happens, and it's all personal racing, really, isn't it? Like, you're racing for yourself at the end of the day. It's not team tactics here.
Well, he says he's going to push hard on the bike, and it may mean that this group of three stay ahead for some time, but I think it's inevitable that a group of that size chasing will be able to close down on the three leaders, but we'll see how long it takes. Param is up the front, so is Chandler Main, and of course Alistair Rogers in that leading three as well.
Hopefully we can get like a group of 4 or 5 away, which will be a good working pack on the bike, and yeah, hopefully put all the other guys under pressure, which will be the best chance for me to have a good run as well.
Well, this is the chasing group. Ed Beecher, who was 9-10 seconds behind out of the water, he's pushing hard. He's done well to get in contact and now trying to close down on the leading three. Adam Bowden safely in the middle of that chase group. He'll be looking to save the legs at this stage. He is an outstanding runner. He knows that's where his strength is. Chandler Main and Rogers sharing the workload at the front of the field. Beecher there, very vocal all the way through the race. Well, he shows a little bit of respect to Adam Bowden, doesn't tell him what to do, and Bowden makes it look easy as he goes to the front of the chase group. Beecher right on his tail. Just behind him is Harriott, who will want to keep a close eye on Bowden all the way through this race. But we've got a sizable chase group building up here in Cardiff, and Bowden looking very intense but relaxed at the same time. The women's race here in Cardiff just as open as the men's. We've got some good swimmers. Kitchen is certainly likely to be amongst them. Potter is a fantastic runner, but Langridge is the one who is likely to dominate the midsection, the bike ride, and she'll need a good lead going into the run.
2 weekends ago I was in Vert in Holland racing in European Cup, and then next weekend I'm in Holland again, actually in Halton, racing another European Cup. But this is definitely something that I need to race well at and do the best I can just to get out there and race and to show that the progression's there and the training is working and stuff like that.
Well, there is Beth Potter, who is better known as a runner, the third Brit in the 10,000 metres at the Olympic Games in Rio last year, and just trying her hand at triathlon.
I come from a strong run background, and I recently qualified for World Champs in London in August. But I used to swim when I was younger, so I actually haven't done it haven't properly trained for about 8 years. But you know, like since January, it's been going pretty well. However, the bike is new to me, and I'm only 5.5 months in, so just see how it goes. I don't have any expectations, so just go out and have a bit of fun.
Well, interesting to see how Potter gets on. Certainly had a good race in Blenheim, coming through the field in the final stages. It's Moroney who's first onto the bike out of T1. A swim time for the leading women of just over 10 minutes, so just about 30 seconds slower than the fastest men. A little bit spread in the early stages of the women's race, so an opportunity perhaps for a breakaway. Moroney's still there, but Grace Cannell coming through to take the lead. I suspect Moroney will just nip into the slipstream. She was looking for a little bit of assistance up the front. Now, Hannah Kitchen on the yellow bike, and she's working with Natasha Sinha, the second group of two, trying to close down on the leaders.
It'll be a little bit slippy out there and there's a few corners, so you've got to be careful, obviously. Don't want to come down, but yeah, experience will play a part in that.
She's got plenty of experience, but Hannah Kitchen and Sinha have been caught by the chase group, which includes Hobbs and Fenella Langridge.
It's, I say, semi-technical course, and the fact that there's a few dead turns and things. So being a strong rider in that respect, hopefully that will lead into my advantage. And then if that hopefully does work out, then maybe I'll have a couple of minutes onto the run, especially with people like Beth Potter and some of the junior athletes out there who are super, super fast.
They certainly are, and Langridge knows she needs at least 2 minutes advantage going into T2, and she's doing her best with Hobbs at the moment. They're pulling away from the chase group, and they're closing down on the 2 race leaders, which are, of course, are Maroney and Kinnell. Well, this is the larger group, working well together, and Potter is in there, sitting in 3rd position, number 83. Very slight figure indeed, but fabulous runner, and everyone excited to see what she can do on the final section of this Cardiff Triathlon. On board now with Hannah Kitchen, and you get to see just what it's like to race in close quarters, especially on a road like this, which has some tight corners. The wet, not as much of a problem as it's been in previous years, but there are some dry sections, some slightly damp, so they need to take care. Kitchen sitting at the back of that group at the moment. Well, the pace not quick enough to close down on Hobbs and Langridge, who have opened up a decent gap at the moment. Kitchen jostling for position. Well, we've got a faller, and that is a nasty looking fall at high speed on a straight section of road, so just a lack of concentration from someone, and 5 have broken away, 5 are chasing, and 5 are down. Now, Hannah Kitchen is certainly involved. We're not likely to see her again. Beth Potter has lost contact with the front of this group. She's one of those chasing, so she's still in the race, but that could make life pretty tough for her. And meanwhile, up front, we still have Maroney, Kinnell, Langridge and Hobbs, who are now trying to take advantage. They won't know anything about the collision behind them, but it's Langridge and Hobbs who've looked the strongest riders, and they go to the front. Halfway through this 20-kilometre ride, Langridge needs every second. Look at the power out of the corner. The teeth are gritted, she means business, and Hobbs trying to stay with her. Halfway through the women's 20k bike ride, with the run still to come, and it's Fenella Langridge who leads the way. She's now got a lead of some 25 metres over Grace Hobbs.
There's a lot more to the event than just the elite race. Let's take a look at some of the other competitors, many of whom started their triathlons in the early hours of this morning.
And this is just as big for the age groupers. They enjoy the racing, they enjoy watching the pros, they enjoy meeting the stars. Vicky Holland, bronze medalist from Rio. Injured at the moment though.
In my opinion, all the best World Series races are the ones that have age group elements to it. We get better crowds, people feel more engaged with the sport, more part of it, and I think it's really important to have, wherever possible, an elite side and an age group side racing on the same day.
Well, I think many would agree with Vicky Holland.
We did it about 2 years ago and it was a well-run event, so looking forward to doing it again today, really.
Cardiff's, the capital city, it's a fantastic place. It's quite flat on the bike apparently as well.
How much difference does it make racing on closed roads?
All the difference. It's more fun, you can get more speed up, you can just try harder, you don't have to worry about anything around you other than the bikes.
I'm looking forward to the bike, that's my favourite bit. The closed roads will be amazing, that's a real treat, and I hope it's like bathwater in there today.
I'm a swimmer, so I'm happy with that. Don't mind the bike, and I'm going to die on the run.
Just finishing and having a smile on my face at the end would be good.
A bit nervous, very excited. Can't wait to get in the water and get started.
Well, smiles all round, but you can sense the nerves amongst these age group athletes. Remember, super sprint, sprint and Olympic distance races on offer in Cardiff this year. There are so many landmarks that they go past. That provides a good distraction from the pain.
There's so many people like high-fiving you and stuff. It's really cool.
Do an event like this is just fantastic. Just love it to bits.
It's just incredible. The atmosphere is amazing. All along the run, the support was great. So, yeah, really well done to the marshals as well. They did a great job.
It's absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. Really enjoyed it.
I've done all three, and I'd recommend it to anybody.
The way things are going, there are going to be many, many more Cardiff Triathlons. And especially if we keep getting elite races like this one. It's all action in the men's, a big group up front. And in the women's race, Fenella Langridge has broken away. And crucially, she's putting some time between herself and the fastest runner in the field, Beth Potter, who was slightly tied up in that incident. What a situation we have here.
Welcome back to Cardiff. Wales's capital is a well-known sporting city, and nothing demonstrates this more than its triathlon, where some of the very best multi-sport athletes are fighting it out on course. So let's rejoin the action with Patrick Winterton.
The elite men have completed their 20-kilometre bike ride, and it's Nathan Tweedy who's the first into the transition area. He's only got a couple of seconds. He probably needs a couple of minutes over Adam Bowden, but his position does mean he's going to get out with the leading runners. So Tweedy, Leleu, we've got Adam Bowden in that leading group of 4 as well. He said he wants to put some pressure on early, and he makes a break with less than 500 metres of the run completed. Bowden goes to the front and starts to apply the pressure.
I'm confident that, my running is in a good place at the moment, so obviously I won't want to leave it for a sprint. I'd like to try and do some damage early on.
He's certainly done that. These 3 now fighting for the 2 remaining places on the podium. Bowden will not be caught. Fenella Langridge, as expected, first into the transition area. The key is, what is the gap? She's certainly got more than 30 seconds. Well, away she goes. The shoes are on just as the chasing group enter the transition area to rack their bikes. Nell, Hobbs, McDonald, all there. The second of the chase groups, and it contains Beth Potter, the danger woman with the green bike. She's not done too badly, but she's over a minute behind. Nell sets up the chase. Langridge some way ahead at this stage, though. But Langridge, it's a case of hanging on. She doesn't like the run. Beth Potter loves it. This is her forte. The Olympic 10,000 metre runner is on the charge and straight into her running. In the men's elite race, second and third now between Harrett and Param. Bowden is up front, and there's a little tap tackle from Param on Harrett. I think that was totally accidental, but it might have taken the sting out of Harrett's legs. 400 to go now, just the Millennium Centre to round. Here goes the burst from Chris Param. Great response from him. Took advantage, and he's opened up a gap of 5 or 6 metres. Long, long legs, striding away. And then he's got that left-hand turn as he rounds the top end of the centre, and then he will see the tape. Bowden is there already. A very convincing victory from him. But was he tested enough? He had a pretty easy bike ride. Bowden's victory, and it's going to be Param who comes in second, constantly checking over his shoulder. He doesn't want to be caught out by Harrett at this stage. And 20 metres to go. Chris Param secures second place and a decent share of the prize purse, the bulk of which goes to today's winner, Adam Bowden.
Didn't feel particularly good, but to run that time at the end, like 14.56 for 5k, it's just a solid run, and my running's in a good pace. But yeah, I'm just very, very happy to take the win.
He got out of transition ahead of me, and he kind of just went, and I never closed the gap again. I could always see him ahead, but that gap just never got shorter. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased with my overall result.
Good strong race from Harrett. The women still out there, having started a little bit later, and Langridge, mouth open, the stride shortening, the pace slowing. She is being caught by a number of athletes. And the first to go past her is going to be Julie Nemo, who actually produced an even faster time on the bike than Langridge, but she needed to because she was 20th out of the water earlier on today, giving away more than a minute on the swim. Well, neither of these two known for their running prowess, so first and second certainly aren't assured at this stage. Working their way back from the end of the barrage. Now Beth Potter, over a minute behind coming out of T2, and certainly the quickest, and it has taken her no time at all to eat up the distance between herself and the leaders, and it won't be long before she goes past Langridge, and Langridge will not be able to respond. Beth Potter, who looked very, very good in Blenheim, didn't win there, but it looks now as though she's going to secure a big victory in her triathlon career. Racing, of course, in the Athletics World Championships in London later this summer. The slight figure, long stride, very, very efficient running from Beth Potter, and a little burst of speed just to ensure that Julie Nemo can't respond. Well, how far can this woman go? I wonder. Training in Leeds, she wants to be amongst the best, and the best are there in Leeds. No stopping her. A fabulous performance. Remember, she got slightly tied up in the collision on the road on the bike. That cost her at least 30 seconds, maybe more, because she was no longer in a strong group. But she's run herself out of trouble. I think that might be a familiar story in her triathlon career. Julie Nemo has to be happy with second place. Good bike ride and a solid run. Coming down the home straight now is Bronwyn Owen, and she's run herself into third place. Now her running time, by my calculation, only 10 seconds slower than that of Beth Potter. What a future she has as well. And Langridge misses out on the podium, a minute and a half down on Beth Potter.
I did panic a little bit for the first couple of minutes because I couldn't see anyone, and I was like, oh no. But then some guys that I trained with were on the course, and then I was starting to pick people off, and I just felt better and better.
How do you rate Cardiff Triathlon then as an event?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, it's all the better to come away with the win as well. Well, I'll definitely come back.
I knew Beth was coming for me, it was just when. But yeah, I was really pleased with my run, held it well, and just went out hard and had to hold it, yeah.
And a word on the winner, Beth?
She's amazing. Don't know how anyone's going to be able to catch that run.
Big smile from Beth Potter. Receives the prize money from Helen Jenkins, a former world champion. There might well be some big champions in the making here.
The Cardiff Bay is the perfect venue for a triathlon. I've been saying it for years, but it's great we finally got an event here. I think Cardiff as a city loves sport, so the more sporting events we can get here would be great.
Well, it's been a fantastic third edition of the Cardiff Triathlon. Adam Bowden and Beth Potter have certainly raised the competition to new heights, whilst thousands of others supported or came to conquer this iconic course. Until next time, it's bye from Cardiff.